So I took the driver's side fender or guard off because I'm just leaning against it, and when I lean against it with my AdFlow backpack, the buckle leans against the body. So this gets me further into it, and then we're looking from the inside out of that section that I want to reinforce where it joins the upright. There's quite a bit of rust in there. So what I'm going to do is I've taken the rubber grommet out for the air conditioning hoses, and if you've not seen my previous videos, it's a brand new air conditioning system and I'm hoping not to have to degas it. So I'm going to chop across here and pull the hoses up out of the way, and then I'm going to chop through there as well, just so I can move these hoses right over here to this new repair over there, and just pop the hoses over the strut tower. And I just want to focus on this repair here. So I'll show you, hopefully I'll show you more as I progress, but there's only about it's less than an hour left to go today. Time's getting on. Good morning. So I was looking at all this rust damage in here and thinking how can I do a decent job in there. So I just had to bite the bullet, and I can't remember how it goes now. I've got photos of it all anyway, but I cut this section out first. It's getting the better of me now. I need to see how it goes in. It goes in like that. And I've kept the other sections. So I think what I'll do regarding that when it comes to replacing it, because somebody has definitely been in here before, there's the mating section to it, and the rib has been replaced at some stage. So what I'll do when it comes to put it all back together, time to put it all back together, I'll just tape all these sections back together on the bench. There's another one down here somewhere, another 2 pieces. I'll tape it all together on the bench and make a new one, I think. So I just kept on cutting more and more so I could get the 5-inch in there. I should have thought of that up front, but I thought I could just get away with a small cut, but that's not the case. So this section here looks good. I've got photos of these 2 sections, so I know what has to go back. This one's pretty easy because that's just the continuation of that structure that goes through to the top of the pedal box and then works its way across to what I've done in there. Just let that get a focus for you. So what I'm going to do this morning is to hack all this out with the Flux Cored wire, just crank it up a little bit and melt it out. And then I'll get in there with my larger belt sander attachment on the 5-inch and clean it up as much as possible. And then do some rust treatment down through here. I don't know if I'm actually going to cut that section out that continues all the way into the car there, or whether I just treat it and then, you know, when I'm replacing all this, just make sure I, in my usual style, do it with slightly heavier material. So obviously what it does is it ties into this main section here. That's the bonnet latch support. Or not the latch so much, but the guide rail for setting the bonnet height. I'm sure there's a proper name for that. Anyway, so I'll set the camera up and you'll see how I go with it. I'm a little bit behind because today is Valentine's Day, and I haven't worked on the car since Tuesday. We've just had a really busy week this week. Social life's getting in the way of getting the car back on the road, unfortunately. But I've actually, as a side note, with one of my Thai friends here. We've made a bet that that I'll have the car done by the end of March for a bottle of Samsung, which is just a Thai whiskey, which by the way is very smooth. So I don't care either way whether I win or lose, but it's just a friendly, fun bet. And his English is quite good, and he comes and looks at the car every couple of days and he goes, impossible, impossible. Anyway, I better get on with it. Sorry, I said I was going to set the camera up, and I just got carried away and sliced out the two main parts. I'll just set the camera up and show you how I slice those out. And then I'm going to have to do something here to slice that out. I might even slice that out as well and just make that whole new section up. So you would have just seen me wire wheel that out, and then this here has got spot weld here and here, and obviously more as we go inboard, which is this section here. So I sliced that off with the welder just down here next to the spot welds, so when I reintroduce a piece here, I can weld stitch the three together with weld. And I'll seam weld down through here as well. And I'll just see if the camera's set up for it. Yes, it is. There's this part here which is missing, and as I said before, it looks like somebody's been up in here before. It could be just factory messy welding perhaps. So just inside of there is the computer, or the fuel injection computer mounting tray. So I'm going to jump inside the car off camera and take that off, because it's holding up the factory insulation pads, and you might have seen earlier that caught on fire and I just blew it out with the blower. So that's my next job, and then the next thing I'll do after that is repair this corner here when there's no insulation in there. And then I suppose I don't know, on camera I'll figure out with you all what I'm going to do next. I'm down in the footwell of the driver's side, right-hand drive car on the right-hand side, and that's the plenum up there in the centre of the screen where the air and water comes in. Rain and should be drained out. Rain should be drained out, and air makes its way to the ventilation system if that's what your car has. And I've just spent, I'll just get some more light on that for you. I've just spent about half an hour cleaning that out and finding a lot of rust. Put it in perspective, if any of you have had your dash out on the driver's side, that is the dash mount there. So I just undid it and I just folded it back out the way gently. It's not doing it any harm, but there's a lot of plastic and wiring up in there, and for me to repair that properly, I've gone as far as I can with the dash in. So unfortunately the dash has to come out so that I can put a repair patch. I'll just use a pointer here. So a repair patch up the side here, to fix that. And then this part of the plenum has to be repaired as well. I'll just take you to the top of the car. It might make a bit more sense from the engine bay. So I'll just start from back here so it makes a bit more sense. There's the windscreen in the dash. And then we just go into the plenum area in here. And then if you look in there, I'll put it right in the center of the screen, there's that hole from out here. That's the same hole we were looking at down inside the cabin. So it's certainly doable. Certainly not something I'm looking forward to doing, but certainly doable. So the next thing is to take the dash out. So I'll get on with that. Okay, so it's not long after, and here we are, dash out. There's the main mount for the steering column, or the steering column support. To put it in perspective for you, all the glue on my car has oxidized with the heat and the moisture over the years, so it looks a rust color, but it's not. It just looks awful. But anyway, we go down here a bit, and there's exactly what needs repairing. Just come back a bit, there's the windscreen seal. So I'm hoping to cut along there and through here and just put a patch in there, and then I'm going to work out what I'm going to do there. Sorry that today's video is mostly narration, it just took a lot to get to this stage. As you could see, I was just cleaning up the A-pillar with the large belt sanding attachment on my 5-inch. I was just getting rid of a spot welded section there, so I just sanded it off because I can't get to it any other way, and then just cleaned up in there as much as I can. This was full of that grey cotton wadding that's at different times in different applications is used as sound deadening. I didn't know whether it extended right up through the A-pillar or whether it was only just here for whatever reason. It could be that somebody's been in there before, because I noticed a little bit of bronze welding up in the corner there that I hopefully have got rid of, because I won't be able to put steel welding over bronze welding. So my next job is to make up this little patch here, and that's going to take a bit of massaging because there's multiple sections that all get stitched together here. So before I start making that, I'll actually give it a coating of rust converter, and then give it a heavy dose after that of weld through zinc. This is the infill piece I've made in 1.2mm. It's got zinc weld through primer on it, so I'm not going to touch it at the moment until it dries. I'll just show you the prep on the car on the A-pillar. This section here is where you'll see that little kink. I shouldn't have touched that, it's still wet, on the infill plate, so it's actually going to get welded around there, even though I don't think it was before, but it will just help tie it all in. And it'll be plug welded on here as well as seam welded on the outside, and you'll see once I start welding it in, there's a hole in the middle, and that's just so I can treat it with cavity wax afterwards. this is looking up towards the windscreen. That's the A pillar. So in centre of screen you'll see a little hole there, which is in the panel. So I'll address that from on top of the car, immediately below the windscreen, about 75mm or 3 inches below the windscreen. And I sort of deliberately missed that spot there, centre of screen above that hole. But looking at it now, I can probably knock that in a little. And then when I weld this section in, this curved section, just before I weld that in, I can touch that up. I've already taken my leather welding smock off, and I don't fancy putting it back on again and welding it at the moment. So that's pretty well tied in, I reckon. And that's all 1.2. I don't know what the car body is there. Some of the sections seem to be about the same, and some seem a little thinner. So that's going to work quite well. And you know, that hole there that's drilled in the centre of the screen, that's where we can treat it with cavity wax, I should say. So I'm pretty happy with that. That was, you know, a shit of a job really to do. A little bit tight in the back the last couple of days, and it certainly didn't help trying to get out of here after welding that in, that's for sure.